Picture this. You're snowed in. It's blizzard out there. The snow is coming down. You're curled up by the fire. It's chilly. What better way to pass the time than to read something spooky, scary, locked door, mystery, thriller, horror?
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play.
It is officially winter, which means it's time for some winter recommendations. So today I'm going to tell you about a few of my favorite thrillers that have kept me reading well into the night. All of my favorite wintry thrillers, horror, mystery books that I have read recently-ish. And maybe you'll find something that intrigues you. Maybe you've read all of these and you'll suggest one to me. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlie and happy Bookmas Day. What day is it? Who knows? So first of all, we have some honorable mentions, and these books I actually haven't read yet. So I can't necessarily recommend them, but I can tell you that they're at the top of my TBR when it comes to wintry thrillers. First, we have The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkauf. I have not read this yet. It's about a true crime writer who is snowed in an isolated farmhouse. She discovers a small child in the snow just outside, and bringing the child inside for warmth and safety, she begins to search for answers. Soon it becomes clear that the farmhouse isn't as isolated as she thought, and someone is willing to do anything to find them. Sounds intriguing, right? I've heard mixed things, but I'm very much interested in giving this a read in the near future. Sounds fun, right? I can't wait. Next up, we have My Darling Girl. This particular book takes place during the Christmas season, during the holiday season. It is about a woman who finds out that her mother has cancer and has very little time left to live. She decides that she is going to allow her mother to come stay with them, even though her mother was an alcoholic and quite abusive. Some sketchy things start happening, and that is all I know, but I can't wait to read it. Next, we have The Drift by CJ Tudor. This one, I think, is about a group of strangers. They end up like snowed in on snowy mountains, heading to a retreat of some kind, and I very much want to get to this as soon as I can because CJ Tudor is a great author. I have loved most of the books that I've read by her. The Burning Girls is one of my favorites, so I'm very much looking forward to this, and I have high hopes. And then last in the honorable mentions, we have The Last Party by Claire McIntosh. This is a thriller that takes place on New Year's Eve at a New Year's Eve party. That is literally all I know. I think somebody dies at a New Year's Eve party and then they have to figure out what the heck happened. So, sounds fun. Sounds like a perfect time for all of us that refuse to leave the house on New Year's Eve, especially those that live in the city and just can't even fathom going out amongst the masses. This is like the perfect replacement where you can just curl up and read this all night long while you watch the ball drop. Okay, so next we have the books that I actually have read. The first one is definitely not going to be for everyone, but I did have fun with this one. It was a little bit weirdly paced and a little bit out there, but I also ended up having such a good time by the end that I kind of recommend it. Is it the best book? No, but I really did have a good time. And that book is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I know this is his least popular book. That being said, I love Riley Sager, and this takes place in November. Two people end up doing a ride share on their way home for the holidays. And it was fun. It was a really fun time. It takes place in the 90s too. It was definitely not his strongest book. It was definitely probably his weakest book, but it was still fun, and the ending really did get me. So I do recommend this. Then we have The Shining. I'm sure a lot of you have already read The Shining, but I hadn't, so I read it for the first time this year. I watched the movie for the first time this year, and I really did have a good time with it. It takes place in this like snowed in, isolated hotel where this family goes to, I guess, watch over the hotel while it's closed for the season. This hotel is at the top of a mountain and nobody can actually access it during the winter because the roads are so bad and it's so high up. So they're kind of isolated all alone, and things get scary. Things get creepy and scary. It was really, really fun, and I could pick picture the vibes of winter so easily, so I highly recommend reading this during the winter time. Next we have Rock, Paper, Scissors. This is one of my favorite Alice Feeney books, probably my favorite Alice Feeney book. Obviously, you can tell by the cover alone that it is definitely a wintry setting. This follows a couple who are having some marital problems and they end up winning a trip to Scotland, and it takes place in February in Scotland, and it's very isolated. They feel very alone, very isolated from the world. It was good. It was twisty and it was really, really fun. I had a great time with this one. Can you hear the wind? She's loud today. Next we have The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. Can you hear that wind? Good Lord. This one, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know for sure the exact time frame that this takes place is all during the winter. I think it is sort of like spanning over a few months, but it takes place in Vermont in like the fall winter months, so it definitely has that atmosphere of like cold, wintry, Vermont-y feeling. I had a good time with this one. It's definitely not my favorite Simone St. James, but I love all of her books, so just because this wasn't my favorite doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. This takes place in two time periods, 1950 and 2014. In 1950, there was this school for girls called Idlewild, and some shady stuff happens. And then in 2014, we have this character Fiona, who is trying to solve the murder of her sister that took place 20 years ago. And her body was dumped near Idlewild. And then she finds out that Idlewild is being restored, and she starts looking into what happened in the past and how it might be connected with what happened to her sister. It was interesting. It was fun. There's some like haunted feels. It's a good time. Then we have The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. This one is another New Year's thriller. Basically, this group of friends gets together on December 30th and they are away on this trip in the winter time, like a reunion kind of. Secrets are being kept amongst them. There's some things that happen. It definitely feels isolated. It definitely feels like they're stuck in the middle of the woods at times. It takes place in remote Scottish wilderness. Oh my goodness. It takes place in the remote Scottish wilderness. A New Year's reunion. The beautiful one, the golden couple, the volatile one, the new parents, the quiet one, the city boy, the outsider. One of these friends is a murderer and one won't make it out alive. Join the party now. It was really fun. It was a really fun book. Then we have The Death of Mrs Westaway. Again, I don't know that this necessarily takes place specifically during the winter time. I think it might, but I'm basing that on my memory and I read this years ago. But it takes place in Scotland. It takes place in a cold atmosphere. I think it follows like time period between like November and December, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong. But a lot of Ruth Ware's books, I feel like, have that wintry vibe. This one's one of my favorites and I figured I'd throw it on the list. Next we have Secluded Cabin Sleep 6. This one, I know some people didn't love this. I really had a good time with this. This follows three couples, I want to say, three couples who again go away for like a vacation of sorts in this like very fancy retreat cabin thing. They have like a private chef. It's like very bougie and some shit goes down. It's definitely locked door. I feel like a lot of times for winter thriller recommendations, I feel like locked door is like the way to go, where everybody's sort of just like stuck in one place. Secrets are being revealed and twists are turning, and this is definitely one of them. I had a lot of fun with this, so I highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out yet. Next we have Nosferatu. This is by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son, and this one takes place specifically around Christmas time, sort of. There's this person, this entity, this thing called Charles Manx. He likes to take children for rides in his Rolls-Royce Wraith. He basically disappears them to what he calls Christmas Land. It is very twisty. It is very twisted. It's definitely a horror, but it's definitely a good Christmassy time. If you're looking for something a little bit more on the scary side of things during the winter time, this one right here, this one. And last but not least, probably my very favorite wintry thriller of all time. I bet you could guess what it is because it's very popular. So probably most of you have already read it, but if there's any of you out there that haven't, this is my call to action right now. Read this book. And that is No Exit by Taylor Adams. This is Taylor Adams' best book, hands down, for sure. We're not going to talk about some of them, but this one, excellent. Again, you have a locked door situation. There is a woman, she's driving home during the winter time, during the holidays. She ends up getting stuck at a rest stop because the weather gets so bad. And I've literally been here in this exact situation where where you're driving home in the middle of a snowstorm and you just want to get home to your family, but you have no choice. You have to pull over because you literally can't see in front of you. So she pulls over to this rest stop. There's a group of strangers there, and she happens to see that in one of the cars at this rest stop, there is a child chained up, locked up in the back of this car in a cage. So one of these people in this rest stop is a psychopath, and it's so intense. It is non-stop. Like, it is just such an adrenaline rush. I had so much fun with it. I actually would love to reread it because I just remember being on the edge of my seat the entire time. I could not recommend this enough. If there is anybody out there that still hasn't picked this up, please do. It's so much fun. It's so much fun, and it's definitely like the amount of times they describe the snow and the weather and the winter and it's definitely the perfect time of year for it. This is my last recommendation, and I could not speak highly enough of it. And that's it. Those are all of my favorite wintry thrillers. I would love to know what some of your favorite winter thrillers are. If there's any that I didn't mention that you think I should check out, please let me know because I'm always looking for more books on the TBR. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far into the video, leave a champagne bottle to represent some of these more New Year type thrillers. That's it. That's everything. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you being here. We have more fun to come this month. Woohoo! Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in another video very soon. Hopefully. Bye. Then we have The Drift by CJ2.
Merry Christmas, baby. Something happens when something that happens when December ends, yeah. Oh, it's Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. It's Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Yeah. Merry Christmas, baby.